The Kansas legislative session is off and running, and we've seen some major issues already up for testimony and debate. Senate President Ty Masterson is here to bring us up to date on what has been going on. Welcome to you.
Well, thank you for having me.
And it's been a busy couple of weeks. What do you think of the pace of how things have been going so far?
It is new, right? We have, and that was an intentional effort by the Speaker and myself to get us back within the constitutional 90 days. Our Kansas Constitution calls for a 90-day session. And I mean, some states do 60 days. There's even a few that do 30. And so we thought there's no reason we can't pull within it. But it's feeling different to those that are incumbent, have been there a while, because this pace, it does make you get your work done. And so there is this sense of urgency, but that's a good thing. Truth is, I mean, the longer we're there, it's not like we get better and better at what we do. You people tend to get a little irritated. So the pace is quick. But I feel we're doing well. We're doing well.
We've already got property tax issues up for debate. You've been discussing a bill that eliminates the school property tax mill levy at the state level, and then also you have up for debate a proposed constitutional amendment. What's that about, and what is the intent there?
So, and a little bit of a nuance there. It's actually the mill levy that the state imposes is for institutional buildings. The House is talking a little bit about the school mills, but it's really we did eliminate the state's mill and a half. I mean, that just out of principle. I don't want to. I mean, it's $60 million worth of property tax relief, but that's statewide. But I don't want anybody to feel like, oh, we implemented this big relief, because it's only $1.5 million. So individually, it's not going to feel like a lot. We feel, particularly in the Senate, the real answer is a constitutional amendment, especially as it pertains to kind of the out of control appraisal values. Especially we saw COVID, and the thing we're trying to really drill down on is the particularly fixed income elderly people that have, you're basically being taxed on unrealized gains, right? And that's what ends up taxing you out of your house. So this constitutional amendment would cap that at 3%, and so you could manage that.
Why does that need to be a constitutional amendment, do you feel? And really this does address, when we've asked local officials, what can you do about property tax relief? They say they are governed by rules that are set by the state legislature, so you all need to do something about it.
Right, and so you're right, it's the point to the other guy, and that's why it has to be a constitutional amendment. The way property is valued comes from the Constitution. That way ag ground is separate. That was a constitutional amendment. And so the only way for us to do that is to do it through constitutional amendment, because what effectively happens, in order to protect that low income or that fixed income from massive appraisals, you have to be able to value or assess two properties slightly differently. And some of that is just the difference between you bought yesterday and he bought 30 years ago, or she bought 30 years ago. So not that her income changed, but it just has to be addressed through the Constitution.
One bill already on the way to the governor bans gender-affirming care for minors. Why did you feel that issue was important enough to truly fast-track it and make it the first big bill passed?
Well, see, it appeared fast-tracked this year, but that was hashed and rehashed over. The Senate's passed it 3 years in a row, and the language really hasn't changed. And we really came within just one vote, 2 votes, I think, in the House ultimately from a complete supermajority override. The Senate even overrode it last year, and the elections were very telling. So we just thought we just wanted it off the plate. You know, we've dealt with it. It's a very important issue. I mean, there's kids on conveyor belts into that process right now, and the sooner we did it, the better.
Way out for me, one objection people have, though, is that one argument you use for some other proposals is less governmental involvement. Parents should be able to decide. Why can't parents just decide this issue? Why does it need state legislation?
Well, the same reason we don't think it's a parental right to abuse your kid. Right? You don't have a parental right to abuse a child, and that's really what it's seen at in the broader public. Even you are taking, if you really truly love that child, you're going to let them work through that process. I'm not discounting that some children are suffering from dysphoria, but if you really love them, you're going to help them walk through that and love who they are. You're not going to answer that with permanent surgery, and that's understood by a broad group in the population. It's incredibly popular with the people, and so it was just time. You don't have a right to abuse a child.
Anytime we talk about money issues, spending, people think the government spends too much, but they also want to see property tax relief, and they don't want to lose their programs. So all these things are rolling around. You started a unique way to get feedback, kind of like DOGE at the federal level that President Trump started. What are you doing locally, and what's the response been already?
So DOGE was taken, so we got COGE. I got a committee on government efficiency.
Committee on government
efficiency, and it's a similar purpose. Now, we're not going to find, $50 million for condoms in Gaza like they did at DOGE, but we're going to find opportunities. And to your question, we opened the portal just last Friday, so you can go to the legislative website. There's a portal to input. There's also a specific email, and I'm probably going to mess it up.
But we can find it all at kslegislature.org.
Oh, yes. So that'd be great. Go there. And it's Kansas COGE, and we just opened the portal on Friday without really promoting it, and we had almost 500 submissions by Monday morning. And so we're excited for what I want people to input. So I would even say to your listeners, if you're engaging with the Kansas government in any way that you feel that could be done better, and it could be something as simple as licensing, permitting, your thing, whatever it is, we want to know about it, because if we can make it better, we want to do that.
We'll have to catch up later and find out what more of those ideas are on the list. Senator Ty Masterson, appreciate you being here and catching up on the legislative session. We're going to catch up with Carl Carlson next.